those are the kind of things, like, whenever it comes to, like, you actually being on camera, I kind of address that. The off-camera stuff that's happening, like, behind the scenes, like, those things are going to happen.
Yeah.
And the more that you encounter those barriers, the easier they are to break through as you keep going. Welcome to the pod. This is episode number 52, and we have all 4 owners of Warren and Matt's agency on today.
A little applause action. There we go.
Because it is a whole ass year of yellow colored glasses. And so we've stuck to it. Yay for us.
52.
Yeah, and we've had some really fun things happen. If you go back to our very first episode, Dusty was just talking right before the podcast started about how just, terrible we were in the beginning. Not that we're experts now, but we've definitely learned some things along the way. So before we jump into it, let's read a review. This review is from Michelle Lyle. Have we done this before?
It's a new one.
Okay. Michelle says, we just completed transferring our insurance policies to Warren Mounts. The process was super easy and quick. We are not only saving money, but increasing coverages. Highly recommend. Thank you, Jake. Thank you so much to Michelle for leaving us an outstanding review. If you haven't left us a review and we've quoted you, you've called and asked a question, we have actually written your insurance, please go leave us a review. That's super helpful for our business. Our next milestone will be 150 reviews?
Yeah.
Right now
that's the next goal.
We're at 106 right now. So
let's get there.
let's get it. Let's do it.
Bump those numbers up.
Yes.
We could probably get that by the end of the week.
Let's do it.
Honestly.
Yeah, I know we haven't really pushed it in a while, so.
Yeah. That's one of those things, like, once you make that an actual focus, it'll really get there.
It is.
But
For sure.
you can't make it too much of a focus because I've been told that they'll delete reviews.
That is true. That
Like, if
is
you
true.
get too many, anyways.
So one agent at a time.
Yes.
Yes.
Get all the agents under control. The
We
fact
just got
that
into
you
like a
use the
normal
term
conversation. Right. Sorry.
I think we're talking about two
We
totally
just
are.
talked about how much better we had gotten at
I know.
this.
Here we are.
No, that's good.
back to square one, guys. One person at a time, please.
Yeah.
I feel like mine sounds kind of funky. Is that a thing?
I think.
Sounds clear on my end.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Do we want to restart?
I don't.
I think we should restart.
I don't think we should.
No, I think we should
Why?
roll with it.
Okay.
We need to roll with it. It's all
This
good.
is us, man. It's fucking weird up in here.
And we don't plan. So we
No, I
plan
agree.
we plan podcasts when we have guests on, but when we do them as us 4, we don't ever plan. We just go. We
We
just
just
wing
show
it.
up.
We just.
It's like Foursquare.
Yeah.
You got 4 people that show up. You don't know who the piss they are.
Nope.
But everybody shows up and someone's got a ball. Although we all try to have the ball at the same time sometimes. Anyway. Okay, peek and pit. So we're going to go around the room, one agent at a time, as Amanda says. My peak right now is... What is my peak? I feel so good about my morning routine right now. I feel just excellent about my morning routine. Yeah, let's do peaks first. Peak?
Okay. My peak would be. I mean, I did this peak last time and it was really
Sticking with
good,
it.
but I'm gonna stick with
That's
it. But
what
my
I
morning
just said.
routine is really good. But she just said that, so another peak of mine is I have been getting really good workouts in the gym. There we go. That's
You
my
have.
great peak.
Do you do an evening routine too? So your morning one's on. Is your evening routine?
No,
Locked in.
my evening routine is. Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about my workout routine.
No, just
No, my evening routine is yeah, it's been good. I've been getting to bed about 9:30 at
Boom.
least. So and
Yeah,
fall
we-
asleep by 9:35 on
Okay.
average. So sometimes it's not even dark before I go to lay in bed.
Same.
So anyways,
Gosh, I wish I could
sorry to
do
cut
that.
you off, Amanda.
No, you're good. I would say my peak is all of the fun things like last weekend and the weekends to come that we have going on with the boys, all the different activities. taking them to their very first, Hunter, don't take offense to this, real concert next week. So that'll be a lot of fun.
That'll be really. Who
Whose
is it?
concert?
Parker McCollum.
That's
Where's that
right.
at?
You did tell us about that.
Out at Sandstone,
Oh,
Azura,
okay.
whatever.
I don't think I've been to that one.
I don't think I have either.
It's an outdoor, so hopefully
Yeah?
no
Maybe
rain.
fun.
Is that the 12th?
11th.
It's on Friday the
That'll be
11th.
fun.
It's
Yeah,
flying
Tuesday.
by.
so
Tuesday.
excited.
I feel like that's one thing that you remember as a kid is like your first
Yeah,
concert
for sure.
that you go to.
Toby Keith.
So they're gonna wig out, and you guys are also gonna wig out as parents.
Yep.
Be
So I'm
fun.
super excited about that.
So my peak is we got a new dog. His name is still Badger. So we went to the river this weekend, and he
has a new personality?
swam. He swam the entire time, and he has literally not moved for 3 days. So
Oh, no.
we have a new laid-back dog that is actually
Get all
like,
the energy out of
oh
it.
my
Yes.
gosh, yeah. So it's pretty awesome. He's just kind of like, it's like he's a 12-year-old lab right now. But he's slowly getting it back. He played fetch 5 times last night, so he's getting there. So that's my peak. We had
Yeah,
a good,
no,
we had a
You guys
great,
wiped him out.
yeah, we had a
It was
great
awesome.
weekend at the river. Just being down there and the country and
Yep.
side by side and
Yeah.
swimming and
That's
stuff.
always
So
fun.
yeah, that was a
It's
good
always
weekend
a lot of good
Being
fun.
next to the water is nice.
for sure.
It's 100 degrees out.
Cool
Yes.
water.
Yeah. Which
Okay.
river did you guys go to?
Current.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's good.
Okay.
Pit. What's my pit? I actually just had one and I lost it. Someone else is gonna have to go.
Okay, my pit is I feel like it's I don't know what my pit is. I don't know. I told you
Ooh.
my
Can I go?
Yeah, please.
So me and Jake just went to a business conference and a real estate conference. And I learned a lot of really good things at the conference. And now I'm trying to implement. Like everyone says knowledge is power. No, applied knowledge is power. So I'm trying to implement all of the things that I've learned. I shouldn't say all of. I'm trying to implement some of the things that I've learned. Like increasing our marketing. I feel like that could use a little boost. Just things like that. So I feel like it's fun to implement new things.
For sure.
So that's a pit.
You did 2 peaks.
No, it's a pit
Gotcha.
because it can be challenging.
Gotcha.
There you go.
But
Cool.
yeah,
Okay, cool.
That makes sense.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
definitely. I think a pit of mine is still, I think right now, insurance has been really great, but insurance markets have kind of shut down on us, so we don't have as many options as we used to. So being able to kind of just roll with that and pivot at whatever time we need to pivot. But yeah, that's my pit right now.
This is very, just something I don't enjoy, but my pit is the fact that I don't like going to the grocery store, so therefore I have been horrible at meal planning. And then we're constantly just grabbing an item here and there, and then it just feels like a constant stress
Yes.
of what's for dinner.
Yes.
So that's one of my pits.
Yes.
Like, I need a plan of action, and it's just been failure to do so.
I get that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, it's kind of hard to eat healthy when we're. No, that's on both of us though. That's a good one. My pit is probably this stupid Series 65 test right now.
Yeah.
Understandable.
And I'm getting I'm like, this time through it, it's making way more sense. It just still seems like so much.
Yeah.
But it is getting there. It's
yeah.
slowly but surely, but I'm going to be glad when it is crossed off the list.
Yep.
That's for sure. And it's going to feel really good
Yeah.
to get it done.
Yeah.
if I
It's
can
going to
get it-
move
if I
from
can
a
knock
pit
it.
to a peak.
For sure. For sure. So
Yeah.
hopefully we'll
Yeah.
announce that as a peak one of these days.
Yep. Maybe. Never know. No, you'll get it.
Yeah, for
Okay.
sure.
Cool beans.
Let's jump into it.
So yes, thank you everybody for sharing. Round of applause.
Normally, it's normally hard for me to find both of those. So yeah.
Okay, so podcast 52, episode 52, right? We've been doing this for 52 weeks now, 52 episodes. How we all feeling about it?
I feel good.
Yeah.
How crazy is it that it went as fast as it did?
One complete year.
Does not feel like that.
Yep.
At
One
all.
complete year.
So we got the idea, you guys got the idea at a conference, and we implemented it within like a week.
Basically.
Yep.
And so, kind of explain a little bit about where the idea came from.
Yeah.
And let's recap on that a little bit.
That's Dusty.
Yeah, we were at a conference, and it was for we were sponsors for First Class Real Estate, did a real estate conference, and there was a lot of awesome speakers that had nothing to do with insurance at all, but there were so many concepts that applied to what we do, and just visiting with somebody that was talking about their marketing and different ways to post things and get your name out there, and basically just be, present in as many different areas as you can. And I just asked him what we should do as insurance, and he said, hey, start a podcast, basically run commercials for or TV shows for your local businesses.
Yeah.
And that's what we started doing. So over the course of the year, we've interviewed many
Yeah.
people in Pleasant Hill that are business owners, people from the metro area. We've interviewed people that are from across the country. And then we've done a lot of stuff, about what we do as well. So it's been fun.
It's been really good.
Yeah, and I feel like as well, like when we were at that conference just a couple weeks ago, like that was one of the biggest things that they all talked about is like everybody who wants to have Facebook content and social media content, start a podcast, try to do a podcast a week. And that's 1 hour of footage, and you can pull your clips, and that's a ton of different content that you can get from just 1 hour of filming. So
Yeah. And that's beneficial for us, and then how that ultimately benefits the audience is we're giving you local businesses that you can shop at, that you can use their services. We're giving you information on, things about the insurance industry or information on these other businesses. And so I feel like it's kind of a win-win. Like nobody loses in
Right.
this situation. So it's been fun. It's been really, it's been a roller coaster. One of our biggest challenges with the podcast has been technology. Jennifer Rue and Emily Sherwood, shout out to you guys because they were so patient. I think those were the two most technologically challenged episodes, and they were both just so amazing and so patient with that.
Yep.
So
Yeah, definitely. Aaron Simpson was another one that kept going. on
really,
and
I don't
off.
remember
Yeah.
that one,
remember that
but
That was a long time ago. He was.
and that
Yeah.
was when it was all white walls in here. And
Yeah.
yeah.
aren't we happy that we did that?
Yes.
100%.
Yes.
100%.
When I look back at them, I'm like, gosh, that was just
White table, white chairs,
Yeah.
white walls.
But, we talk about it all the time, sometimes just doing it.
oh yeah. That's how you get started,
Just
just
did it.
doing it and
Figured
then
it out.
and then making it better as you go. So
For sure.
Yeah.
becoming an expert at it.
Yeah, it's
Becoming an
where
expert.
I think I mentioned it earlier, but we've gotten so much better since we first started.
Yep.
But we'll continue to get better. Our conversations will be more valuable and more just punctual and better all the way
Right.
around the board.
Right.
I think the other good thing about, kind of our concept with what we're doing is we bring on, like you said, other business owners, other people in the community, other people in the area, where we all see these businesses all the time, but we've never really got to talk to that person, right? So it opens up just new audience for everybody, right? Even though we're not getting maybe a ton of views, but it's like, oh, okay, well, I saw them on the podcast. So
Yeah.
it's like, oh, well, let's give them a shot.
Yeah.
It just puts that in the front of their mind from an awareness standpoint of
Absolutely.
the businesses and stuff. So I think that's been really cool. And I think it's been a hit. I think everybody really likes being on. I think they feel really honored to be on. And I know I do. I feel honored whenever they come on. So,
Absolutely, yeah. When someone takes the time out of their day to come in and talk to us and share what they're doing, feels good. Feels really good.
I just made a request to get the air turned up in here a little bit.
nice. It's getting hot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you guys think your favorite part has been? Can you think of your one or two of your favorite moments of the podcast this year, everybody? I know that's kind of putting you on the spot.
I think, honestly, I was really excited to have the last guy we had on the podcast last week. I was very excited about just getting in front of him and asking him some questions. So even though I don't think I'm not saying I haven't been excited on the other ones, but even though, that's what I was looking forward to, was having an excuse to talk to other business owners, other like-minded people, and just kind of bullshit with them.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think my favorite was with Jennifer Rue. I feel like there's certain people that you talk to and like they just get it and I just get it. I don't know, something about that conversation was just really, really good.
For sure, yeah. Some conversations flow with certain people way easier than others. Yeah.
For sure.
What about you guys?
I would say just hearing stories, like hearing the background where people started, how they got their ideas.
For sure.
We talked to a lot of the downtown historic businesses and other small businesses in town, and just hearing how they even got the idea to do what they're doing. For instance, Wing Hill, which now they're going to be moving into a new location as well, which is exciting for them already. So just hearing the background and the stories and
Yeah.
meeting people on a different level.
Yeah.
I love that. That's so good.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of really cool moments. Some of the ones that we all did together were funny and
Yeah, we had the team on. I feel like
Yeah.
the team really liked some of the things we were doing. So, yeah, I think it's been really good.
yeah, I mean, yeah, it's been awesome. I'd say the most like meaningful one to me, or the one that maybe like had the most impact on me that I did, just from like me learning, was probably the one with Scott Greats.
Yeah.
That I did, which that one wasn't even in person. That we've only done a couple that have been.
I know.
Have
Only
is
one.
that the only one
I think
that's
that's
been
the
on
only
Zoom? Just talking to somebody that makes an impact on now with just not just his community but now across the country.
Yep.
That's pretty cool. Kind of motivating. So that was a neat one for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One person I'm excited to have on is Cyrus. We have
Yes.
those guys up there whenever they come down to KC. I'm pretty excited about making sure we get that on the calendar
Yes.
and making it happen, because I feel like that's why we've been waiting to ask them to be on,
Yeah.
is so we could do it in person. So.
For sure. Yeah, no, that'll be
And
awesome.
the Scott Great ones was great. I'm not saying it, but it's really cool to have
Yeah.
them in person. Like
Yeah.
that's an ideal scenario, especially that leads us into the whole pimped out room here. It
Yeah.
used to be one big white box, and then we put wallpaper up.
Well,
We bought wallpaper, and then we ended up painting. So this room was expensive.
This room was
This
expensive.
paint was top dollar.
But it turned out really
It turned
good.
out great.
It turned out awesome. So,
It
what-
did.
what's our next topic, real quick? Because
Growth.
okay, that's perfect then. Because I was gonna leave. I had a question that I wanted to ask you, but I didn't know what we were getting into next. So no, I guess going into that though, what would your all's opinion be on advice? As we think about episode 1 to now, 52. From then to now, and the growth that we've had, and the advice that you would give other people if they're starting their own podcast, particularly what they're worried about in the beginning versus what they should not be worried about. Because I know exactly what is in my mind right now. I want to hear what you guys are thinking.
Gonna say the same, but you want me to go?
Repeat the question one more time.
That was a really long question. Growth wise, what advice would you give to somebody that's starting their own podcast? All right. And then number 2, what would you tell them? Hey, don't sweat this part of it. Like, don't worry about this. It's all gonna take care of itself.
I would say don't get hung up on what you look like, what you sound like, and what you say, because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. If someone's criticizing you for what you look like, what you're saying, and how you say it, that's on them.
for sure.
For
Yeah.
sure.
Point.
So
Yeah.
you, don't worry about criticism of others. Just be worried about how you can improve yourself. If you liked your first video, that's all that matters. If you want to improve something from your first video, then improve it. It all boils down to what you think about yourself and the product that you're putting out there. So, and know that you're gonna suck at things, and it's gonna be terrible. You're gonna make a mistake, and you're gonna say the wrong thing, and it's okay.
Yeah.
Welcome to being a human being.
Yeah, that's really good. I was just gonna say, just start. You know, like that's the biggest thing. Like, just do it. Like, I remember whenever you guys did this. I mean, shoot, I wasn't even here. Like, I was out of town,
Oh, I forgot
and you
about
guys
that.
bought all this equipment. When I'm like, and
Oh,
I get
yeah.
a text message, like, and I'm like, okay, we're starting a podcast. I literally said that out loud. I said, well, it looks like we're starting a podcast at the office, guys. You know,
Totally
and
forgot about that.
and honestly, like at the time, like I mean, who knows what I was actually thinking? But I mean, I'm happy we did what we did. Like,
I don't think you were happy right there at that
I don't.
second.
I think I'm trying to be polite here.
No, hey, we just said don't hold back on this stuff.
No, I mean,
remember.
I don't think I was mad, but I definitely think I said something. But who knows? I don't know. Do you remember what I said?
No.
I don't either. Either way, I'm happy we did what we did because it was a great idea, and I'm happy that we got more consistent with it. So I guess that's the biggest thing is just start it. And what you said, that's great. And then also just be consistent with it. Even though you're not maybe getting 1,000 views or 500 views or even hundreds of views, like just be consistent. That's the difference between having a podcast that goes for a long, long time and a podcast that, you know, someone does just randomly and then it just kind of sizzles, you know.
100%.
So.
I would say don't fret the small stuff. So if the camera turns off or
Yeah.
like as stressful as it is and annoying as it is, there's nothing you can do about it in that moment.
Yeah.
So don't fret the small stuff. If another thing in the beginning, especially somebody would cancel right before we were supposed to be doing it. And that gets frustrating because we're making time to make sure these things are getting done consistently. And so just don't fret the small stuff. And like Jake said, just start. And there was one more thing I was gonna say, and it's left me.
To piggyback on your first point, like those are the kind of things, like whenever it comes to like you actually being on camera, I kind of address that. The off-camera stuff that's
Yeah.
happening like behind the scenes, like those things are going to happen.
Yeah.
And the more that you encounter those barriers, the easier they are to break through as you
Right.
keep going.
Yep, for sure.
In
So,
theory.
yeah,
That's what I'm telling
Like,
myself.
yeah.
About our
They keep
problems.
happening, but they're getting better.
Yes, and we're gonna figure it out one way
Yeah.
or the other.
Yep.
But yeah,
And if you can't figure it out, there's YouTube.
there's YouTube. Yeah.
Or Caleb.
Or
That's true.
Caleb.
That is true.
Or Caleb.
No, I was going to talk about the views piece of it because when we first started, the first, I think even when we look back, I think like the first like 4 or 5, like we've got 300, 400, or 500 views, and then slowly as we went, the views started to go down, and there's numerous things that go into that as far as podcasts are kind of long, right? Once people lose interest, they don't necessarily just watch it all the time or watch the whole thing or anything like that. So I used to kind of get hung up on that, like, oh, well, our views are going down, or we're not, what do we need to do different to get it out there? But then the amount of people who reach out because of the clips and that reach out and they see, the thumbnails and that kind of stuff, they're still seeing our product, they're still seeing the content. And there's lots of people who, how many people do we know that say that they've had a podcast or they want to start a podcast, but they've done 1 episode or 5 episodes.
Right.
And so, yeah, and I'll be the first to admit that I haven't always been the most excited to do the podcast this week, or just whenever. But I'm very thankful, just like you said, that we did what we did and that we've stuck with it and the consistency. Now, I'd also add the last thing is when you were talking about people canceling, we kind of learned too where we started getting episodes ahead of time and getting them knocked out to where it wasn't like, okay, well, we're going to have an episode this week, so we got to get it filmed today. It was, like this episode's not going to air till next week.
Yeah.
And we've done we've done a better job at that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, being more strategic with it. And to say another thing on that, like anytime I remember, like I'll talk to people at the gym or just wherever, and like I just automatically assume that they don't know we have a podcast every single time. I don't know if I don't know why I do that. I say, yeah, we have a oh yeah, like yeah, I see your yellow colored glasses.
Yeah.
Like so, and it's people that don't even like my stuff. There might not even be clients.
Right,
like
right.
it's just like, oh yeah, I see your stuff. Like we were at we were at a 4th of July party, and there's a couple people there that I wasn't even friends with on Facebook, and they're like, man, we love what you guys are doing on social media and stuff.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
really? So then I added them later on. Like that was so. Anyways, it's just wild to to see that even though it might not be getting all the views, it's not about the views, it's about the awareness, and it is getting out there some way,
Yeah.
somehow.
Yeah.
So
No doubt.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably the hardest. That's why it's so hard to stick with it sometimes, is
Correct.
because we're in a world of instant gratification.
Yep.
We want to see our time and our money and our energy rewarding us immediately for it. And this is definitely one of those things that as we go, we're like, okay, it's
Right.
working. Like
Yeah.
it's doing what it's supposed to do. And
Yeah.
so it's awesome to feel that.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, it's a long game play. I've been following Rachel Hollis for a long time, and I've been listening to her books and all of that for a long time. And I just listened to a podcast of hers, 454 episodes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Oh, episodes. Okay.
Yeah. Not to
Yeah.
like discredit our 52, but
Right.
I'm just saying that like there is someone else out there
Yeah.
that committed.
Yeah. Oh,
That's
yeah.
all I
yeah.
need. I need one person. There's one other person that exists in this world
Yep.
today that is that committed to having a conversation, talking about their perspective. Listen, she interviews people too, so she'll, people will, or I listen to her perspective among, all the other people. And yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
If-
No, I think it's been great. I think the podcast idea has been awesome.
Yeah.
What were you gonna say?
Yeah. What was your question? Like, why did we answer that from you? What was your question?
Just like what advice would you give people, and what would you tell them don't worry about? As they're doing it, what would be, why should
they
they
want
do
to
it?
start up.
But yeah, I think everybody kind of hit on that pretty well.
Yeah.
So
Is there anything that you feel like you've learned from doing the podcast?
I feel like I've gotten better with speaking on camera. I think you kind of said that, like being able just to be on camera in general has helped me a little bit. I mean, that would be the biggest thing. And then, of course, whenever we're interviewing certain people, we're learning stuff from them. Of course, that's cool. But that's from a knowledge standpoint, not necessarily a podcast standpoint. So,
Yeah.
what about you?
As far as learning, I feel like oh man, I'm trying to think. Like you said, going back on learning stories and the obstacles people have had to go around and their advice on getting around those obstacles, and just having that
Yeah.
conversation with the people that we've brought on and being able to learn from their experiences, especially those that have been in business a lot longer than us or have faced different adversity, because you never know when we might face that same thing. So just being able to learn from the other
Yeah.
business
Yeah.
owners.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say just getting comfortable with, communication of, like you said, being on camera. I remember the first couple times we did it, it's like, do we look at each other? Do we look at the camera? What are we doing?
close my eyes.
And interviewing people is not easy.
No, it's not.
It's not easy to just
Keep
keep
the
a conversation going, especially with if you're talking to somebody that,
They're already nervous too.
we've had a couple of those that that were nervous, and I was nervous the first few times that we did it, but now it's like I'm just getting on here and talking. We're just having a conversation, and so that's been really, I think, the best thing for me.
I
about
actually
it.
want to give a shout out about, we had one person on that she came on and she left, and within 30 minutes was texting us saying, is there any way we can redo that? Because she felt that she could do a better job. She was just so nervous when she came in the first time. And we were like, yeah, if you're not comfortable with what we just did, let's
do
redo
it.
it. And so her having the strength to come back to us and ask for that was nice.
Yeah. Yeah. That was really good.
And you can also, and I'm gonna ask you, Michaela, but you can also see, like, when you're 10, 15 minutes into the conversation where people are just like, they let their guard down a little bit, and then now it's just talking. Like, now it's like, okay, like, and that's where I feel like I've gotten better at, is being able to get that wall down where they're just, now they're just, we're just talking. It's not, I mean, I know we're trying, and I think that goes on me as well. Like, I get more comfortable as well with it too. At the very beginning, I'm trying to say, I'm trying to stay scripted or whatever.
Right.
But then you just start rolling with it, and it's just natural.
Yeah.
So, what about you, Michaela? You probably learned a lot on the editing side too, because you do all the editing.
Yeah, I was going to mention
Clips,
something
stuff
about
like that.
that I've learned a lot about I know that Final Cut Pro has a lot of functions, and I still don't think that I'm accessing utilizing all of the functions that it has. But I've learned a lot, and I already knew a lot about video editing prior to doing this, but I've learned so much more. I feel like I don't know. I feel like I've gotten even more comfortable with like being on camera. Like whenever we were doing Lime Life, we would do marketing, and I mean,
Yeah.
it's freaky, you know, the
Yeah.
first, especially live.
Yeah.
But I
That's
just,
the thing about this. At least we can
Yeah.
cut stuff out if
Yeah.
we absolutely don't want it on there or whatever. But
I honestly forget that we're even on camera a lot of times when
know.
we're talking
Yeah.
now. I don't even think about it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Once you get rolling, like it just goes.
yeah. So I just think it's cool, and it's cool to be like so comfortable with yourself that you don't mind like
Right.
being filmed. What was I gonna say? I was gonna say something to work on. I was gonna talk about something I want to work on, but now I don't remember. Oh,
okay.
whenever I'm thinking about the people that would watch this, you know, wanting to start a podcast. Something that I think that we can do a really good job, or a lot better job with, is talking people through what the conversation structure is going to look like. Like this, I have like a lined out flow chart of what the conversation will look like, as far as like an intro, and then a podcast number, and then introducing the guest. But I think there's like house cleaning things that we could do on the front end.
Yep.
Like, hey, just as a reminder, Dustin, you're going to be looking at me. You're not going to be looking at the camera. We are having a conversation. You're not having a conversation with the camera.
Right.
Or if you say anything, and most of the time we do say some of this stuff, but if you say something you don't want in there, let me know. Please tell me like right now if there's something that really, really important that you want to talk about, so we can dive deep into that. Just like those house cleaning things on the front end to make a crisper conversation during
Yeah.
the real deal. I feel like that's something that I've been thinking about, and just have
Yep.
working through how to like
yeah.
verbalize it and whatnot.
Yep.
For sure. We really haven't, 52 episodes in, we really haven't planned that many of these.
No. Not at all. And I
They're
think
pretty just go with the flow.
Yeah, and I think that, like, actually, the guy we had on last week, he said he watched went back and watched a couple of ours to kind of see what, what he was getting into, basically. And he was like, yeah, he's like, it's just very much like they're all about the same. And again, I've been trying to watch more podcasts as well, and just to see like how a podcast will flow, like what you're talking about with like how the person that's interviewing the person, like that person, like what that looks like. Is it a
Right.
specific subject? Is it just conversations like what we're having? Like what does that look like, and how does he keep that, or how do they keep the conversation rolling? How do they keep it entertaining?
Yeah.
So I feel like that's another thing that we've all learned probably a lot of is that by itself.
No doubt.
Listening.
Yes.
You have to be a good listener.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and I think that's how you do keep the conversation going.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, like you turn your listening skills on, and okay, what did they just say? Where I want to know more information.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know,
Because
that
it's
can
easy
be
to start
valuable.
talking about maybe what you think on that topic. Sometimes maybe, and I know I've been
Yeah.
the worst probably at that at all of us.
Yeah,
Is I'll get to talking and
which isn't a bad thing.
No.
And I feel like there are moments where that is needed.
correct, but you still have to. We're still interviewing another person.
Yeah.
So it's of course redirecting that attention to them.
Yep.
So
And they could say something that could lead, like, make something click in you to
Yes.
totally go
Correct.
down
Yes.
another path and learn more, like you said, get more information, but it could be in a different capacity
Yep.
than what you'd already been discussing.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So,
I feel like you kind of have to like be in tune with what the other person's saying to.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go a step further.
yep.
Oh, you were born in
sure.
Kansas City. How did your family get here? Just
Yeah.
you know, things like that.
Cool.
Let me check my list. Challenges. Did we already talk about that?
I think we pretty much
yeah,
hit
we
all those.
have.
The last thing on the list is being consistent with it, which we have. We've been so consistent with posting once a week, and then we pull clips from every episode and convert them onto short form content pages like Instagram, thank you. Facebook, TikTok. We still have not implemented YouTube Shorts. We need to be implementing YouTube Shorts. So yeah, consistency.
Lots of things to still grow with. So
Yeah, we'll continue to get better and continue to have some really cool guests on. And like I said, like we'll just get better with the interviewing of those guests, which will make it more entertaining for everybody who's listening and watching.
Yeah.
So,
for sure.
okay.
I think we're at our sweet spot though.
We are.
on the time.
Yeah,
Okay.
if you are interested in starting a podcast, this episode is for you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Episode
If you're
52.
interested in
52.
joining us throughout the next
Yeah.
year.
Any recommendations?
Yes.
Yes.
That you have for us.
We are open to suggestions.
Absolutely.
So,
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
Episode
All
104 will be here before we know it.
next
You
thing
double
you know,
up.
when will that be?
a year from today.
Oh man. I think, wait, it's a leap year.
I know.
It's a leap year. There's an extra week.
August.
An
of
extra week? You mean a
2024.
day?
Correct.
Okay.
You got me on that.
All right. Well,
Okay.
episode 52 is in the books. It's a
Over
wrap.
and out.
All right.
Over and out.
Bye.